Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 470, I am still banging on about Gravity Forms. Like I said, there's a lot to go through with Gravity Forms. It's a dense product. And there's lots of things we can look at. And I like to break my things down into really small parts. Now today, I'm actually going to head into the admin screen for Gravity Forms, the entries screen for Gravity Forms. And I want to show you how you can organize your content and find your content and do some things with that, because it was something that took me a little bit to work out. And I realized that possibly not a lot of people realize you can do this. So what I'm going to do is just head straight into the site and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so back end of our WordPress website. We've all been here, and if you are just tuning in and want to know about how to install and use Gravity Forms, I've got a series of videos as part of this podcast that have built up to this point. I'd recommend going back and having a look at those. They will be on the podcast to come to. What we're going to do is come down to our Forms menu and then click on Forms. What I want to do is look at the entries for a specific form. The forms we have available are our contact forms. Now we can go to entries here, and that's going to give you all the entries across all the forms. If you want to just sort of short circuit and look at the entries for one form straight up, come to your forms menu, but mouse over the form that you want to look at and click on entries. Now I only have 2 entries, which is great. That's fine by me. It makes this a little easier, but let's go through the entries field or the entries screen and what it allows you to do. First of all, you'll notice that the default information it gives you is the first 4 fields. The first 4 fields that you've put on your form. In this case, first, last, email, phone, and contact preference. Sometimes we want to look at sometimes we want to see different content in here. Now, one of the things that I like to look at initially is, when was this form submitted? So that to me helps me determine how many forms am I getting a day? Have I got a problem? Am I getting a lot of spam on particular days? Someone will say to me, I have submitted a form, I did it on this date, why haven't you responded? And I can go and look at it and say, well, it didn't make it through to my email for whatever reason, or no, it just wasn't there, it didn't get submitted. That happens occasionally too. But to be able to modify the columns that you see here, it's actually not all that difficult. See this little cog over here on the right hand side? If you click on that little cog, it shows you what columns you've got active and what columns you can look at. So then one of the first things I normally do is find the date entered, the entry date, and I drag it in and I put it in my first left-hand column. I'm not going to change anything at this point. I'm just going to move that. Now you'll see, because I've got 5 columns active, it's making each column a little narrower. So this is something you have to be aware of, is that when you add in extra columns, if you're not removing columns, you might end up with nothing readable because they're all too narrow, because it will automatically create the width of the columns to fit the number of columns you want to see. So I'm looking at the entry date here, and I can tell, and I can search, I can sort by the entry date, I can see most recent, I can see the first ones. So entry date is one that I like to have. What else might we want to show here? Maybe we want to sort by our preferred locations as well. So we're going to put preferred location here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the contact preference out. So to take a preference, take a column out, we just left click, hold, drag it across and just drop it back into our inactive columns. I don't want to see their email address and I don't want to see their phone at the moment. I want to try and keep this as easy as possible, but what I want to be able to look at is their name, when it was entered, their name, their preferred location, and their preferred training time. There we go. Click save. And now you can see we've got information here. So you can make this screen as useful as possible to you without having to download all of this and export it to CSVs and do all of those things. You can use this screen to give you a really good snapshot of what you're looking for. What else can we do here? Well, you'll notice that we've got this fantastic search function at the top here. We've got any field, search any form field. You can actually select a form field to search. So you might want to search for email address if it came from this email address, or for a name, or for a contact preference. You can select it to have does it have this text in it, or is it this text entry exactly? So you've got two options there. Does it contain it, or is it exactly this entry? And that will, it's honestly, it's not going to be me useful showing you this for a 2-entry form. If you've got hundreds of entries in here, searching for something might be very useful to you. The other thing we can do, I know I've shown this before, but I'm going to just go back through it. If we just go to the bulk actions before we check on anything here, we can mark all of our entries as read. We can mark them all as unread. We can add a star. That just, if I just click on that, it stars entries. It tells you that this is an important entry. You can remove the stars. So if you want to do that for multiples, so the way the bulk actions work is if you select as many forms as you want, I'm selecting them all, and say bulk actions, add a star, click apply, you'll see that it just, everything that was selected, it's got the star on it. If I do that to remove a star, so select it all, select remove a star, click apply, it's gone. So bulk actions will let you do this on multiple entries in your form, all of them or some of them, just depends on what you want to do. Resend notifications, you can print it, you can mark it as spam, you can delete the entries. I'm not going to go into how they work in a bulk. Let's click on here. I know I covered off the notifications, resend notifications. Let's look at this one that we've just done in the last episode and come down to notifications. You'll see that every notification that you have in your settings notification screen applies here. Now, this is why the name of the notification really makes a difference, because you've got it here. You can see what it is here. If you've named it something obscure, you're going to look at that notification and think, what the hell was that? Or someone else is going to look at it and go, what was that? Is that the notification I want to send? But we can select to send all of the notifications to a specific email address. You can select to send just the admin notification, and you type in the email address you want to send and hit resend, and it will send that through. So if someone says to you, I didn't get a confirmation, or your admin user says, or the person who's looking after this says, I haven't got my notification, you can come and resend it if you need to. I find it useful in some cases. I find it more useful to know, for me, being the tech, more useful to know what's not getting through so that I can track it down. I tend to use these to test and see and look for log files as to why things are not working for me. You can add notes to a form. So you can actually use your Gravity forms as a very mini CRM. You can add a note, and when you add a note, you can say, look, I'm going to add this, send this off to the person who submitted it. I can tell you that this is the submission name. Why would you do that? Well, this might be, like I said, you can use this as a mini CRM. I'm not suggesting that you should, but you can use it as a mini CRM. Okay, That's well, and sorry, finally, just before I go any further, you'll notice that all of these columns have the two-headed arrows, the up and down arrows. That means you can sort. And whichever one is highlighted is how this form, this screen is actually, oh, I clicked on it, is how this screen is actually sorted. So if you're not sure how it's sorted, you can just look for where it's got a dark arrow and you'll know. So if I click on preferred locations, for example, it's telling me that it's sorting preferred locations ascending to descending. Preferred times, it's ascending to descending to begin with, and it's descending to ascending. So oldest to newest, newest to oldest. So lots you can do in the admin screen. It's really worthwhile having a look at the very least, what the columns give you. So if you are looking for forms, if you're using Gravity Forms as a mini CRM, or even just looking for entry, the columns, the ability to just select the entry tables to look at, the entry columns to look at, make it so much easier. Okay, that was kind of a roller coaster for me, because there's so much in there, and there's so much that makes a lot of sense to me to have a look at. Sometimes it's not so much for a business owner who wants to just get the data and use the data. I hope that using that entry screen will make life easier for you, and at least understanding the information you can get out of that entry screen without actually having to have the form itself on your email will make a difference. What do you guys think? Leave comments wherever you are watching or listening to this video. Come over to my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. Join the conversation there. In the description for the show notes, or in the show notes, not the description for the show notes, in the show notes, there is a link to Gravity Form. It is my affiliate link. I do have to tell you that I will make a small commission on anything you purchase through that link. I also do need to say thank you if you do make a purchase through that link. I do appreciate it. If you got anything out of this video, please give it a like. I'd really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.